The Global Fund galvanizes support for the fight against AIDS, TB and malaria and works with partners to support preventive measures and the most effective modes of treatment. In 2011, the Global Fund board announced no grants will be issued until 2014. In Ghana, the fund's 5-year support for the treatment of 49,000 people living with HIV and AIDS will end in 2014. This does not include some 12,000 people living with the disease in Ghana who are not part of the program. Government and other partners catered for the numbers outside the global funding brackets. The resultant effect of the funding gap has been the shortage of HIV test kits countrywide and the inability of persons living with HIV and AIDS to run CD4 count tests.
There has been a delay in the procurement process for the CD4 reagents because of some financial constraints. You know, the National AIDS Control Program, the key support for funding comes from the Global Fund. And the Global Fund, for the past 2 or so years, have indicated to us their inability to support us 100%. We need counterpart support from in-country, the government, for instance, to fill in that gap.
Persons living with HIV and AIDS are worried.
The last time I was supposed to do it was in February. When I went, they said there's no CD4, so I have to come back home. So from February up to now, I haven't done it. So I don't know what is happening in my system now. And I need to know, because as I take the drug, I have to know whether it's affecting my liver, I'm improving. And I know I'm improving, but I have to know the level I have reached. Government should quickly wake up, do something about this. Where are the reagents? They should supply it so that people will be tested and know what is going on in their system.
We sought answers on how soon the problem would be rectified.
You're looking at the same kitty of a financial gap that government has to fill in. When resources are made available, procurements in adequate quantities will be done.
On the HIV test kits, Officer in charge of clinical care at the National AIDS Control Program, Dr. Bernard Donu, reiterated the shortage was not impacting on pregnant women and some prioritized situations. A senior program officer at the Center for Democratic Development, Regina Foyewa Amanfo, was insisting the shortage of HIV test kits and the inability of persons living with HIV and AIDS to run CD4 count tests was worrying and required urgent attention.
It's a very critical situation that we find ourselves in. As civil society organizations, we're going to strengthen our advocacy and engagement with policymakers so that we can address this terrible situation we find ourselves in. I will encourage government and all duty bearers to make serious attempt to get all these necessary things done so that we can save the situation.